shadows of deception. Lucas Hayes had spent his entire life chasing the truth. As an investigative journalist, he had taken down corrupt politicians, exposed corporate fraud, and uncovered secrets people were willing to kill for. But his latest story wasn't just another assignment, it was personal. It started with a name, Damien Knox. Knox was a billionaire philanthropist, a tech mogul who had shaped the modern world with his cutting-edge AI innovations. On the surface, he was the epitome of the benevolent billionaire, always giving back to the community, funding medical research, and establishing foundations for social good. But behind this charitable facade, whispers of something darker lurked. People who crossed him disappeared, his competitors crumbled overnight, and his power only seemed to grow. His empire was vast, stretching across industries from tech to energy, and he had connections that reached the highest echelons of government and law enforcement. Lucas Hayes had received an anonymous tip months ago that someone was digging into Knox's past, and what they had uncovered wasn't just troubling, it was chilling. For years, Knox had been quietly collecting power through subversive means. He wasn't just a businessman, he was shaping society itself with his tech, his algorithms, and his insidious influence. The tip claimed that Knox was using artificial intelligence in ways no one could have imagined, ways that blurred the line between surveillance, manipulation, and control. It was too big for anyone to take on, but Lucas couldn't turn away. He began investigating, digging deeper into Knox's financials, secret companies, and offshore accounts. What he found was unsettling. Enormous sums of money flowing through shell companies, and contracts linked to the government, highly classified, almost impossible to access. Lucas was starting to connect the dots. Every trail led to the same conclusion. Knox wasn't just a businessman, he was controlling the very systems that ran the world. Then, one night, Lucas's world shattered. He returned to his apartment to find it ransacked. His laptop was gone, his notes were destroyed, and on his coffee table sat a single envelope. Inside was a photograph of his younger sister, Claire, bound and gagged, her eyes wide with terror. A simple message was written in blood-red ink across the image. "Walk away, or she dies." Lucas's hands trembled. He had expected pushback, maybe even threats, but this was different. This was a declaration of war. He had two choices: abandon the investigation and ensure Claire's safety, or press forward and risk everything. He chose the latter. The descent begins. Lucas went into hiding, but not before reaching out to an ex-employee of Knox Industries, a whistleblower named Dr. Evelyn Cooper. She had once been one of Knox's top scientists before she vanished off the grid. When Lucas finally found her, she was a ghost of her former self, paranoid, gaunt, and convinced she was being watched. "I worked on something I wasn't supposed to," she confessed, her voice barely above a whisper. "An AI system designed to predict human behavior not just online, but in real life. It could anticipate movements, decisions, even thoughts." Lucas frowned. "You mean a surveillance program?" Evelyn shook her head. "No, a control program. It's called Sentinel. It doesn't just watch people, it manipulates them. Knox is already using it to eliminate threats before they even become threats." Lucas's blood ran cold. If this was true, Knox had built something far more dangerous than a dictatorship of wealth. He had created a world where free will no longer existed. Evelyn explained that Sentinel was far more sophisticated than any surveillance technology. It was a neural AI capable of influencing human behavior, a hidden program that operated on a global scale, silently shaping the choices people made, manipulating political outcomes, and even swaying public opinion. It could anticipate a person's every move, making them believe their decisions were their own, while in reality, they were simply following a script written by someone else. The moment he left Evelyn's hideout, he knew they had been compromised. A black SUV with tinted windows tailed him through the city, the same kind he had spotted near his apartment earlier. He took sharp turns, cut through alleyways, and eventually lost them, but he knew it was only a matter of time before they found him again. Then Claire's voice rang through his burner phone. "Lucas, they know. They're watching me." He had no time. He needed to act now. The hunt. Lucas had one option left: infiltrate Knox's operations, expose Sentinel to the world, and stop it before it could do any more damage. He reached out to Maya Richards, a former intelligence operative turned rogue hacker. Maya had a reputation for digging into the darkest corners of the digital world and surviving unscathed. She was the only person Lucas trusted to help him crack Knox's systems. Maya decrypted the data Evelyn had given him, and what they uncovered was beyond anything they had imagined. Knox wasn't just controlling a few people, he was engineering the future. Using Sentinel, Knox had created simulations of global events, mapping out entire political systems, economic markets, and social movements. He had his hands on the pulse of humanity, controlling it with algorithms that could predict and dictate outcomes before they even happened. But there was a catch. Knox had a deeper agenda. Sentinel wasn't just a tool for control, it was a way to rewrite history itself. Every time someone opposed him, every time someone threatened his empire, he simply erased them. They vanished without a trace, their existence scrubbed from all records. No one would ever know they had existed, let alone that they had fought back. He was building a new world, one where the past and the present were under his complete control. Realizing the enormity of what they were up against, Lucas and Maya devised a plan. They would need to infiltrate the tech summit, where Knox was about to unveil his next breakthrough, a global AI platform that would solidify his hold over every facet of modern society. If they could hijack his presentation and expose the truth in front of millions, they might just have a chance of stopping him. But things went wrong. The betrayal. The night before the summit, Claire was taken. A video appeared on Lucas's laptop. Claire, blindfolded, Knox's voice calm and composed. "You have one chance to walk away, Mr. Hayes. Sacrifice your story, and your sister lives. Push forward, and she dies by morning." Lucas was outmatched, outgunned, and yet he had never been more certain of what he needed to do. With the help of Maya, he infiltrated the summit, bypassing security systems and making his way into the control room. Just as Knox stepped onto the stage to give his presentation, Lucas and Maya executed their plan, overriding the event's broadcast and flooding the screens with the truth. The entire world watched in real time as the truth about Sentinel was exposed. They saw the manipulation, the erasure of history, the twisted control that Knox had over the global stage, the power of his empire, built on the backs of thousands of people whose lives had been erased. It was the moment that could bring him down. But Knox was ready. The final confrontation, gunfire erupted in the hall as Knox's private security stormed the stage. Maya was shot in the chaos, and Lucas fought his way through the crowd, desperate to find Claire. He knew that if he didn't act fast, Knox would have the upper hand. In a final confrontation, Lucas cornered Knox in the building's basement. The billionaire tech mogul smiled, his eyes cold. "You think you've won? This is just the beginning. I own the future." Claire appeared, but there was something wrong. Her eyes were blank, almost robotic, as she stood between Lucas and Knox. She wasn't herself. Knox handed her a gun. "End this, Claire." For a moment, there was only silence. Then, a flicker of something. Claire hesitated. Lucas's voice cracked as he reached out to her. "Claire, fight it. I know you're in there. You're not like him." Her fingers trembled on the trigger. Then, as if something snapped within her, she turned the gun on Knox. A single shot rang out. Knox stumbled backward, his eyes wide with disbelief. The AI had failed. Human will had triumphed. As security forces swarmed the building, Lucas grabbed Claire and fled. They didn't know if Knox was dead or alive, but they knew his empire was crumbling. Sentinel had been exposed. Aftermath weeks later, as Lucas and Claire tried to rebuild their lives, they received a final message on Lucas's phone. "You won this round, but the game isn't over." And then came the final twist. Lucas uncovered a set of security footage from months ago. Maya shaking hands with Knox, standing together in a private meeting. Lucas's stomach sank. Maya had been working with Knox all along. Somewhere, in the shadows, Damian Knox was still watching, and Lucas knew that, no matter what he did, the game would never truly end.